You turn off the lights and your world drops to guesses. Your dog may still know exactly where Mr. Banana is. That sounds like a cute pet owner fantasy. It isn't. A few dogs can hear a toy's name in the dark. They still pick the right one. The real question is not whether dogs smell better than you. Obviously they do. The real question is what survives when sight drops out. Is it just a scent trail? Just a habit? Or is the dog carrying that toy across smell, sound, space, and memory? That answer changes how you watch your dog search. Especially after the obvious cue is gone, it changes the pacing in the hallway, the stop at a doorway, the sudden beeline to the right corner. Turn the lights off, and dogs do not fall apart. They change strategy. Dogs were given an object task in light and in darkness. Some were ordinary family dogs. Some were rare dogs that learned toy names unusually well. In the dark, the dogs searched longer. They sniffed more. They worked differently. But the target did not suddenly become impossible. Darkness changed the method, not the mission. And there is a physical reason for that. Your eyes give you a snapshot. A dog's nose gives ongoing traffic. Each sniff pulls odor in. Part of that airflow gets pushed to the part of the nose that holds scent longer. Not all of the air is just passing through. Some of it gets routed where smell can accumulate. So when your world goes blank, your dog's world does not. It gets rearranged. Here is the part nobody tells you. Smell is not just about what is here right now. For a dog, smell also carries what was here recently. It is closer to a layered map than a photo. A room can still contain the ghost of what moved through it, which is frankly an outrageous feature to have built into your face. Maybe the dog is only following whatever clue is still leaking out of the room. Maybe this is not a mind holding onto an object. Maybe it is just a very efficient nose. So strip the room down, strip the toy down, strip the whole problem down to 2 cups and a hidden object. In 2009, dogs watched a target get hidden under one of 2 cups. The cups were attached to a rotating beam. Then the whole setup turned. After a 90-degree rotation, dogs could still find the hidden target. After a 180-degree rotation, they failed. Then they changed one thing. Instead of scrambling the dog's view with the cups, they led the dog around the setup. Performance improved. That is a weird result. If dogs simply did not understand hidden things, they should fail across the board. They didn't. If dogs were solving it only by staring at one spot, moving the dog should make it worse. It didn't. The problem was the update. Some dogs were keeping track of the hidden object, but only while the geometry stayed manageable. The object vanished, the scene changed. For a while, the dog still acted like it was there. It had just moved. The thing is gone from sight. The dog still behaves as if the thing exists. And then something shifts. Researchers made the test meaner. Later that year, dogs watched the hide, watched the apparatus move, and then had to wait before searching. During that delay, a barrier blocked the setup for some trials. In other trials, the lights were turned off. If success only came from keeping a live visual lock on the target, this should have wrecked them. For some dogs, it did. Accuracy dropped hard. But others were basically unaffected, even in darkness. That is the point where the easy explanation starts to sag. The dog is using information that is no longer visible. The object is not on screen. The scene has gone blank. Yet some dogs still head to the right place. You have seen the household version of this. Your dog watches a toy get tossed behind a couch. You step into the way, the room goes dim. It still runs to the exact gap where it disappeared. That starts to look less like random optimism and more like the dog treating the hidden object as still real. But hidden cups are one thing. A stronger test is whether the dog can keep track of not just something, but that specific thing. That is where the famous border collies show up and make everything weirder. In 2008, a border collie named Rico was tested with named objects placed in 2 different rooms. The dog was asked for a specific object. Rico did not just retrieve the right thing.
Rico reliably started in the correct room. That sounds small until you sit with it. The dog has to combine two things: what you asked for and where it had been placed. It starts in the right place first. The object is not visible yet. No fresh cue can rescue it. That is not just go fetch. That is closer to activate the thing, activate the place, start there. A few years later, another border collie named Chaser pushed that same idea into absurd territory.
Chaser trained for about 3 years. By then, the dog knew 1,022 object names. Not tricks, not just action commands, object names. Chaser could also handle category words and even more than one label for the same object. At that scale, object identity stops feeling fuzzy. For some toys, the dog is treating each one as its own separate thing. But here is where people get carried away and start writing philosophy papers for Labradors. Word learning in dogs is full of traps. Dogs can win the wrong way. They can use exclusion. They can use scent, recent reward, or subtle human cues. A beautiful result can shrink very fast once the shortcuts disappear. The cleanest buzzkill is a Yorkshire Terrier named Bailey. In 2012, Bailey could retrieve from a vocabulary of 117 toys. Bailey could even handle unfamiliar voices and accents, which is a very funny thing for a tiny dog to be good at. It looked impressive. Then came the hard test. 2 supposedly learned new toys were put against each other. If Bailey had truly mapped each new word to each new object, this should have worked. It didn't. Bailey failed repeatedly. That matters because it keeps the whole topic honest. Some dogs really are doing striking things, but dogs can also look like they understand more than they do. That happens when a setup quietly hands them a shortcut. So when a result survives after that warning, it lands harder. Now go back to the household scene from the start. The lights are off. The toy is invisible. The only new thing entering the dog's mind is a word. A few gifted word-learning dogs heard the names of specific toys. Then they had to find them in light and in darkness. Their success did not differ between light and dark. The search behavior changed. They sniffed more. They took longer. But the word still worked. That is the strongest case. The dog hears the name first. The search style changes second. The correct object still gets picked. So the dog is not just bumping into the toy, getting a smell hit, and improvising from there. In the dark label test, the word points to the toy before the dog can see it. The cleanest way to say it is this: sight drops out. The object does not. And yes, only a tiny handful of dogs are unusually good at this. A couple of dogs can grab a new toy name after just a few exposures. Most dogs cannot. Ordinary family dogs are not all secret chasers waiting to be discovered. Here is the honest answer. This still does not prove dogs picture absent things the way you do. It does not prove a little visual movie is playing in the dog's head. It does not prove every dog carries a neat inner map of the world.
What it does support is narrower and stranger. Some dogs keep track of the same object, even when the sense doing the work changes. What stays may not be a picture. It may be smell, room layout, body memory, reward history, sound, and learned moves stitched together. That is also why the results vary so much. Some dogs hold up in darkness. Some collapse. Rico looked remarkable. Bailey looked remarkable until the hard test arrived. A few gifted dogs treat words almost like handles for objects. Most dogs do not. So, the careful claim is not that dogs have tiny human minds with fur around them. The careful claim is that for some dogs, an absent object stays available when vision stops being useful. You turn off the lights and your world loses edges. Your dog may just stop using the sense you depend on most. The toy is not gone. The job is just handed off.
The thing stays real even when you cannot see it. And once you see that, your dog stops looking like an animal reacting to the room in front of it. It starts looking like a mind carrying around its own version of the room.